Hey guys, today's a controversial video day. Let's talk about character disputes between House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones. House of the Dragon is currently the most important fantasy streaming series on display, even though it only has one full season so far. The spin-off initially gained recognition because it's part of the Game of Thrones universe. It drew attention for its focus on the Grand Targaryen house and the fantastical creatures that made them formidable. However, the series also had to quickly prove its worth after the controversial ending of the original series. Despite the similarities and differences between the two series, many characters in both are similar in terms of personality and storylines. Today, I'll present the dispute between 10 characters from House of the Dragon and their counterparts from Game of Thrones. Are you ready? Before you start, you already know. Comment below if you've watched all the seasons of Game of Thrones. It also comments on whether you liked the ending of the series. It also comments on whether House of the Dragon is on the same level or better than Game of Thrones. I love talking to you. Comment here and I'll answer. Agreed? Continuing, 10th place, Aegon Targaryen versus Joffrey Baratheon. Joffrey Baratheon is without a doubt the most hated character in Game of Thrones, known for taking pleasure in causing pain and suffering. He didn't care about his people or the kingdom's safety, but was naive enough to believe he was secure and free from consequences because of his status. Aegon Targaryen II is very similar to this king. Although Aegon hasn't shown as much cruelty as Joffrey, both young kings enjoyed their noble status privileges and didn't care about the impact of their lack of concern on others. Aegon hasn't been on the Iron Throne for long, just like Joffrey, who wasn't king for many years. But both are seen as ignorant young men and selfish rulers. 9th place, Criston Cole versus Jaime Lannister. Jaime Lannister was one of the most complex characters in Game of Thrones. He had an exceptional arc throughout the series, starting out as a cruel and disgraced knight. Seeing what power did to those he loved, like his sister and lover Cersei, he changed his perspective and became a true hero, despite a controversial conclusion to his story. On the other hand, Criston Cole started out as an honorable knight who took his vows and duties seriously. However, when he was thwarted by the young Rhaenyra Targaryen, he became vengeful and cold-hearted, allying himself with the Greens out of spite. Jaime evolved, while Criston so far seems to have gone from likable to completely insufferable. Despite this significant difference, both knights' stories began with them fighting for their beliefs, only to discover that their outlook was shaken by their own desires and worldviews. 8th place, Mysaria versus Varys. There is a very distinct similarity between Mysaria from House of the Dragon and Varys from Game of Thrones. Both are intelligent, driven characters who use a network of spies to achieve their goals. These two strategists are also committed to the common people, believing that working both for and against rich nobles is the key to prosperity. They share comparable backstories. Mysaria starts as a prostitute in King's Landing, using the knowledge she gains to subtly act against the rich who exploit vulnerable children. Likewise, Varys has a tragic backstory, beginning as a boy caught and maimed by a sorcerer, up to his inclusion in the most trusted circles of the small council. 7th place, Otto Hightower versus Petyr Baelish. Otto Hightower started planning the moment Emma died in childbirth. He used his only daughter, Alicent, to manipulate King Viserys and gain power in Westeros. The manipulative nobleman didn't consider his daughter's well-being or the country's before using Alicent to sire male heirs who would compete with Rhaenyra for the succession, increasing his family's power. Petyr Baelish wasn't born noble, nor did he have children to use to his advantage, but that didn't stop him from being as diabolical as Otto. When Petyr used innocent people like Sansa Stark and Robin Arryn to gain power among the rulers of Westeros, he only thought about how it would benefit his own position. These two men are very similar, using those under their control to become more influential.
6th place, Corlys Velaryon versus Hobstock. In House of the Dragon, Corlys Velaryon is a complex man known for respecting traditions and the kingdom's hierarchy. When Viserys is left without a male heir, Corlys first suggests the king's brother Daemon, then his wife Rhaenys, which would grant him and his heir access to the throne. Despite his support of patriarchy, Corlys allies himself with Rhaenyra, backed by his wife, when the battle between the Blacks and the Greens starts at the end of the first season. At first glance, Hobstock seems to have little in common with Lord Valerian as he rebels against the kingship of Westeros. However, both value their own families and lineages more than others. Furthermore, both are seen as misogynists, respecting women while maintaining the status quo of men dominating women. Both begin the downfall of their great houses by choosing their desires and beliefs over the safety of the majority. Guys, what if you could never spend time looking for images again? Can you imagine creating the perfect images for what you need and still being able to make money from it? Let me explain. First, a huge library of more than 1,000 ready-made images and growing. You can use our images in your projects without any copyright issues, but what I obviously find most interesting is that each of these images has the prompt, and you'll be able to take these prompts, generate them in the same style, and make the necessary adaptations to get the final result you're looking for. Every week, we add new images in over 20 categories, such as futurism, sci-fi, famous people, Disney Pixar characters, Funko Pop characters, realistic animals, superheroes, live action, 2D cartoon characters, 3D characters, religion, artistic, mythological creatures, video games, children's, food, realistic fantasy, professional business, mock-ups, prints, cars, motorcycles and vehicles, architecture, logos, business, and much more. And lastly, a WhatsApp group for students to exchange prompts. For more information, you are watching on YouTube. I'll leave the link in the video description and pin it to the first comment. And if you are watching on Instagram, I'll put it in the bio link as well as the highlights. If you want to take advantage of this mega launch price, hurry up because I will update the price very soon. Okay, I'll see you here on the platform. Fifth place, Aemon Targaryen versus Cersei Lannister. There's no denying that Cersei Lannister is one of the most ambitious characters in Game of Thrones. Although she pretends to care about hierarchy and lineage, her primary focus is on self-preservation and the protection of her children. After all, her children die prematurely. Cersei's desire to hold on to power becomes unwavering, causing significant suffering and leading to her eventual downfall. Aemon's story is just beginning in House of the Dragon, but it's clear that he shares a similar viewpoint. He seems to care little for his family, seeking to gain power in Westeros, and believes he is more suited for the throne than his brother Aegon or his sister Rhaenyra. Just like Cersei's unique development made her a Game of Thrones icon, Aemon's impactful decisions place him among the most fascinating characters in this franchise.
Fourth place, Viserys versus Ned Stark. The first season of Game of Thrones highlighted the greatness of Lord Eddard Stark. He was a beloved character from his introduction, displaying a noble personality that valued honor and tradition. It was this honorable nature that eventually led to his beheading. He refused to do anything dishonest or brutal, even if it meant saving himself and his family. King Viserys Targaryen was a kind and equally honorable ruler. Although he was seen treating some people cruelly, he honored his house and stayed true to his decisions. Even when his dedication to integrity and his decision to name Rhaenyra as heir were unpopular and dangerous, he refused to change his mind out of pride. It was the honor of these two men that inevitably led to the downfall of those they loved most. Third place, Alicent Hightower versus Margaery Tyrell. Alicent Hightower is introduced as a naive young woman who does as she's told, even if it means marrying a king to fulfill her father's lust for power. After becoming queen, Alicent is blindfolded by the beliefs imposed on her and ends up allowing her discontentment and aversion to Rhaenyra to lead her family into a destructive war. Margaery Tyrell, on the other hand, is initially shown as having more power, using her kindness and passion as weapons to gain a position in King's Landing. Her desire to become queen wouldn't be thwarted, which eventually led to her death. These two women allowed patriarchal and social patterns to rule their lives. Their loyalty to tradition made them influential, but their powerful positions ultimately destroyed their once good and loving natures. Second place, Daemon Targaryen against Khal Drogo. Daemon Targaryen quickly became one of the most popular characters in House of the Dragon. He didn't adhere to his noble family's standards, instead choosing to be violent and selfish to get what he wanted. His audacious personality led him to pursue his niece, Rhaenyra, despite his brother's disapproval. This desire for romance and allies escalated into his role as the frustrated queen's husband, a feared dragon knight and a notable warrior. Khal Drogo, on the other hand, was the son of a great leader and also earned his position as another powerful Khal, using his strength and influence to maintain control. Despite the positive qualities of these two strong men, their anger and need for control also emerged through cruelty and severe punishment. Firstly, Rhaenyra Targaryen versus Daenerys Targaryen. Some fans of House of the Dragon support the Greens, believing Aegon and his mother Alicent are more fit for the throne than his older controversial sister. However, many admire Rhaenyra Targaryen's spirit and resilience, believing she is the true heir to the Iron Throne due to her leadership skills, and her father naming her the rightful heir. Similarly, many Game of Thrones fans rooted for Daenerys Targaryen. She was admired for being fierce and ruthless in maintaining power. Her love for her family line and culture led to disastrous events, although she never apologized for her decisions. Devoted fans of Daenerys align with Rhaenyra in the upcoming war, choosing to support women who overcome obstacles and fight for what they believe is their right. Leave your ideas and questions in the comments. I'd love to discuss the subjects of the video. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Indications of upcoming videos are popping up here now that are perfectly suited for you to watch. See you in the next video soon.